What's up, dudes and dudes here, and my name's Scyushi, and we are back in some more Trove patch notes. Yeah, it's already on the live server, the Trials of Luxion. Honestly, this update is a bit undercooked. And I'm just gonna say as a point of no return here, this update kind of sucks. I'm sorry if the Trove devs are watching, but seriously, this whole update's underbaked. And essentially, what does it do for the overall economy of Trove? Well, it makes Luxian's items untradeable. That's about it. So we'll kind of go through this step by step, but generally speaking, today's video is going to be focused on the patch notes themselves. So let me just bring those up. All right, so before we get into this wall of text, I would appreciate if you would leave a like. It is decreed from the desk of the incredibly rich, powerful, and handsome dragon Luxian that his time in the hub has come to an end. Luxian has returned to the land over which he rules. He invites all noteworthy Trovians to test their strength and luck in this most deadly game, the Trials of Luxion. The Trials of Luxion is a repeating event, so don't be confused by the fact that it calls itself an event. I think that the devs should have used completely different terminology, because an event in the entirety of the 10 years I've been playing this game means a temporary thing that goes away. This is going to be a weekly grind, same as Shadow Towers, same as Delves. It is not going away anytime soon, but for some reason they call it an event. So anyways, when active, players can access the Trials of Luxion to collect Venturine, not to be confused with Adventurine. Once again, I think the devs really messed up on the wording, because they shouldn't have two items that are that close to the description, because people will think when you talk about Venturine that you just forgot the A in Adventurine. Anyways, this item can be used to craft a variety of rewards from Luxian's hoard. I can say with a complete flabbergasted shock that the items that you craft out of this are basically just Luxian items that are on a faster rotation than waiting for him every 2 weeks. But all of the items have been increased in price across the board as far as their dragon coins are concerned. So shame on you, devs. Absolute shame on you. Unless you plan on overhauling the dragon coins, which I've got another video that talks about dragon coins and how free-to-play players have to take 2 real-life years to get all of the dragons. That's not including all of the other crap out of Luxian's inventory and various other things that take dragon coins. Anyways, let's move on to the specifics. So Trials of Luxion has a new gameplay mode. Combat stats are suppressed and death is punished, and access is strictly limited based on the amount of flux that you have. So dupers are fine. The average players are not. Trials of Luxion will be available for 1 week at a time. Trials of Luxion are only for the most powerful, confident Trovians, and access is strictly controlled. Not true. It's got easy mode. So to enter the Trials of Luxion, Trovians must use a Trial of Luxion portal present at the Light's Den in the hub. So essentially, if we end up going to this guy, you can see that there is a cash shop item. It's almost like this made Luxian's entire inventory pay to win. Funny how every update for Trove seems to be systematically taking old mechanics and then throwing them into a weird cash shop option. Also draining more of my daily qubits. You need like millions of qubits as a new player, let alone spending it on a weekly thing. Like, just no, it's stupid, devs. Anyways, you'll go over here and you'll interact with this table. You can also craft these for 450,000 flux each, and every time you end up crafting it, ouch, it ends up increasing in price, and it resets on the day. Pathetic. Anyways, you'll use these to then end up crafting these various portals, which as you go through them, and we'll go through it in a moment, as you go through these, you can claim the rewards and leave, at which point you would have to craft or get another one of these in order to enter a new portal. Or you can close this portal down without taking the rewards and risk going to the higher difficulty. And then you would end up systematically getting more and more and more rewards, but more and more risk, because obviously it's going to scale up in difficulty, with the final difficulty being a full-on D15 long shade difficulty. Now, for the super powerful freaks like me, long shade is a joke, so it doesn't really matter. I can push it all the way to the end. But the devs kind of pulled a fast one on us, and last minute they ended up nerfing the amount of dragon coins that the new Luxian dragon takes. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, pardon me. But they also nerfed the amount of rewards you get out of this portal. So in true Trove dev fashion, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. This new Luxian dragon takes such a ridiculous, astronomically bad amount of rewards out of these portals, let alone the amount of flux or qubits or credits, God forbid, that you have to spend to craft these portals. It's bad. Anyways, the patch itself kind of goes into more detail about all of the stuff that I basically just ended up saying. New players should check their adventure tab. There's going to end up being a new quest line for all of this stuff. Once Trovians enter the Trials of Light, they begin the Venture Capital, where they have to talk to Lord Parthenax and Venture Forge and blah, blah, blah. So anyways, once we're in this world, so this, as you can see, there's going to end up being 3 different biomes, an inner ring, a middle ring, and an outer ring. Unfortunately, you can see that in this world, someone's already in here, which means that he could systematically kill everything in this entire area and completely screw me over from being able to complete this area. So I don't know why you can even play with other players, because the funny thing is you can't invite people and people can't join you while you're in your own instance. So I really don't know why it has other players. It's weird. So anyways, there will be a bunch of these various quests that you can get around the area. This is just like killing invaders. This guy over here has using a slot machine. But wait a minute, how come I'm so slow? That's right, it lowers your movement speed when you're in here. So mounts become a lot more valuable again, which is kind of nice. Oh dear God. Okay. All right. They limited your mount movement speed when you're in here as well. Because when I was on the test server, I was still getting my actual mount movement speed, which is like 125 or something like that. But now my movement speed seems to be capped at 90. So this update sucks. And they, in true Trove fashion, devs, I wish I could slap you for ripping all of the fun out of this update. What little fun there was to be had, let's be real. So anyways, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. So this is a donation station where you can donate these various rewards. As you donate 1, it starts costing more. As you donate 1, it starts costing more. So you can kind of just go through this one at a time, donate all these resources, who cares? You end up getting Venturine out of it, which is going to end up being the big boy crafting material that you'll end up using in this area on the crafting table, which I don't know where it is. Normally it's chilling right here. Okay. So anyways, the quest itself wants us to deal with a bunch of enemies within the inner ring, and then a bunch of enemies in the middle ring, and then the outer ring. For the sake of saving your time and my time, we'll kind of just skim through the patch notes, because that's all there really is to it. There's just enemies. For some reason, dungeons spawn in that biome. I don't know why, because the dungeons don't actually have enemies, and more importantly, they don't have exits, and you can't use bombs to get out. There's a lot of problems with this update. Blah, blah, blah. You can end up forging all this stuff. Basically, there's going to end up being a crafting table that will have a bunch of Luxian's craftable items. And as far as I understand, they're going to be on a 6-hour rotation. That might be different as we end up going through the crafting or patch notes here. But anyways, all collectibles previously sold by Luxian can be obtained from the Venturine Forge, though their availability cycles. Keep checking the Venturine Forge throughout the event. All Venturine items will also disappear from your inventory after the event concludes, so spend wisely and expediently and often. Basically, the Venturine that you get in your inventory will expire, but you can craft it into an item that doesn't expire, and this is their weird way of making you craft Luxian items that are untradeable, but then get removed from your inventory anyways. Essentially, this is the Chaos Chest with like 15 different extra steps that nobody asked for. Players can also use Venturine to solicitate Luxian's favor. So by loot collecting an unfortunate soul, players receive fragments of an unfortunate soul, which can be used to buy Luxian's favor in various ways. Players can only have a single Luxian favor at a time. Any newly applied effect will remove the currently equipped effect. So the Luxian favor is where we will systematically get various buffs in that biome that will counteract the nerfs that we get. So our movement speed sucks. You can use Luxian favor to boost up your movement speed. Why would I waste my time doing that? I don't know. It's especially when it's on a weekly reset. So it's just pointless endeavor. So anyway, then there's the gambling table, which they mention, and each day there are 5 random items which players can donate to Luxian's Hoard, plus a venturing donation, which is always available. Each donation increases the amount of that item is required by 1.5 times. The next time that item is available to donate, the donation amount will reset. So it does cycle out. Trials of Luxion are similar to standard adventure worlds, but there are some significant changes. So some stats like jump, movement speed are capped in the Luxion world. Build mode can't be utilized. Most blocks can't be destroyed. Trovians can neither join nor invite each other. As mentioned above, dying within the trials will also remove the venturine from the player's inventory, which is why you want to really be careful with your risk reward ratio and just try not to die. We all have death defying anyways. I don't know if death defying works in the area, but you can get a Luxian favor that makes it so that when you die, you don't lose as many of your items. Now, more importantly, the big part of this update is the first wave of VFX optimization, namely all the VFX for Shadowhunter, Boomeranger, Pirate Captain, and Bard have been optimized. They are steadily working on optimizing thousands of VFX in this game across all classes, across all aspects of the game to make the game run better. And this is going to make a big difference. And even in this update, I noticed the difference almost immediately. It's very subtle because if you don't know what you're looking for, then you probably won't notice it. But I did notice frame rate was a lot more stable. I wasn't crashing as much, just typical things that you expect from most video games. It should make a big difference for you guys when this update goes live on consoles as well, because your frame rate should be a lot better. Now, as they end up rolling out future updates, they will also end up optimizing more VFX. This update does not come with the server migration. So currently Trove's entire server, whether it be console or PC, is on a cloud server, which explains the lag. They're going to be migrating that to a physical server, but that's kind of the next big step that they're working on. So anyways, when sprouts are destroyed, seeds are no longer returned to the player. I assume this has got to do with anti-duping, because people are basically duping seeds and pinatas and other stuff. Then there's a bunch of different bug fixes, which honestly, who cares? But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about the patch. Overall, I think that what it adds to the overall game in terms of optimization and stuff is great. But this whole update, like I'm always the first person to defend the developers because I know that they're under huge time constraints. They've got, Gamagoat breathing down their neck, and basically like the community as a whole is fairly rabid towards them. And so I try to give them a lot of slack and I try to be objective. But every time they end up putting out these updates, it feels so conflicted, because there's aspects of this update that I do genuinely enjoy. The adventure of going through this world with no movement speed and everything like that was kind of a really nice blast from the past for me, at least while it was on the test server, because when it was on the test server, we could actually use our mount movement speed. But now that that's gone from the live server, that's another aspect of the game that has just been completely removed in the favor of making the game more boring, I guess. If that's the goal that the developers have set out to do, then okay, cool, they've done it. Because now with the slow movement speed, I don't know, man. Like, it was kind of neat. But there's also, the idea of, okay, this at least allows free-to-play players to grind Luxian's items. Nope, because they still cost dragon coins. So I'm actually recording this additional clip the day after. So this was on Wednesday, basically. And I'm glad that I took an extra day because I was able to gather feedback from you guys towards this update. Generally speaking, I still don't like this update and what it represents. But it turns out that you can just craft the D15 portal immediately. That's different from the test server. In the test server, you had to linearly go all the way up to this. But something that is also interesting, when you get to the end of a D15 portal, instead of closing the portal, you can opt to continue further. And some of you guys have reported in the Discord that you've gone like 15, 14, 20, like basically plus difficulty on top of D15. So Spooky, for example, ended up going to D15 portal, and then he went through 16 additional floors So he was able to get like a crap ton of extra resources. It's still not ideal. It's gonna be like a super slog of a grind. And unfortunately, it's still extremely time gated because a lot of these items, you basically have to just spend all of these while you got them before they end up expiring. But because these dragon fragments are on a daily rotation, it means that we should be able to get the dragon relatively quickly, so long as we have the excess amount of time to specifically laser focus grind this stupid Luxian thing, which, if I'm being perfectly honest with you guys, I don't have the time to do it. I don't have the time to rush the dragon, so I'll just slowly work at it. I'm hoping to have a stream probably later today of me doing this update, because otherwise earlier in the day I would have done the Mario Kart stream, and then I'll try my best to have this video up, and then there's also going to be some Mandragora videos because I'm trying to beat that game before it releases, and by now I probably already did it and have a review video and everything, blah blah blah. Scyushi Man's been busy is the too long didn't read version. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about the patch. Again, I think there are certain aspects of it that I liked while it was on the test server, but of course the funness has been completely sucked out since it's come to the live server. I'm not a big fan of this update, frankly speaking, other than the VFX overhaul. Smash like, sub for more, buy the merch you want to support the channel. My merch is way cheaper now that it's over on Fourth Wall instead of Teespring, but in any case, I hope you enjoyed today's video regardless, gamers.